What's up, YouTube? Scott Lett here, owner of Iron City Power Washing. I just left the gym and man, we've got some ground to cover. I've got a few things I want to talk about, mainly questions that have been asked. One is, man, tell us the story behind your company name. Like, why are you guys called Iron City Power Washing? That's a great question. So the video that I just posted a second ago of the statue, his name is Vulcan, all right? And Vulcan stands for iron because Birmingham was first founded upon and established upon the production of iron and steel and big metals, and they were produced at Sloss furnaces, which is, if you go back 3 or 4 videos ago, we were cleaning those viaducts under the bridge, and that was for Sloss furnaces, and that's where they produced, that's where the production was for the iron. So if you notice the Vulcan statue and the logo in the Iron City Power Washing, that's where that came from. So and I came up with the name and the logo in 2018. And I tell you what, guys, that has been amazing for branding. People love our name. They love our logo. So that's what that statue is. That's the Vulcan overlooking the city of Birmingham. So for you guys who have wondered, you know, why are we called Iron City Power Washing? It's that. So question number 2 that I've been getting a lot of. This has nothing to do with branding or marketing. It's, what shoes do I wear when I pressure wash? And that is a good question, because I have gone through so many different pairs of shoes over the years, to the point where I just got tired of spending money on like the Huck boots, the rubber boots. Even though I say that I just ordered a new different brand. I forget the name. They're back here in the back. I'll show you here in a little bit. But what I've been doing is I rotate through 3 or 4 pairs of tennis shoes. They get soaking wet every day. And then I put them on a boot dryer. And so I invested in a boot dryer. I'll finish up my day, come home, and I'll put them on a boot dryer. They're usually dry by the next morning, but I just use the next pair of shoes in line. And I have about 3 or 4 pairs of tennis shoes. They're gonna get soaking wet. My feet are gonna get wet no matter what I'm wearing. So that's what I've been doing, just to save money. I don't care if my feet get wet anymore. It's just part of it. Now in the winter months, so the early fall, winter, and even early spring, when I'm still wearing pants, you know, when it's still kind of cold in the mornings, I bought a pair of Brunt work boots. I think they're fairly new, but I was seeing them a lot on Facebook and I think some YouTube advertisements, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try those boots out. Well, they have been phenomenal boots. They've held up well to bleach. No water has gotten to my feet stay dry, they're fairly warm, and they're easy to, you know, put on, tie up, and I think they look good, you know, from a professional, you know, standpoint. I think they look pretty good. So Brunt Footwear, Brunt boots have been great for us. So, but question number 3 I've been getting a lot of, and this is something that is probably going to take up most of the video. This is 3 or 4, by the way. Is, what is your process when communicating with a customer looking for an estimate? Okay, and which is a great question, and I have this down to a science. A lot of trial and error with the communication, you know, what has worked and what has not worked. But you have 2 ways to get an estimate with us. You can either call our number, and we use a third party called a Grasshopper, to where when someone calls, my business partner, his phone rings and mine. So hopefully one of us answers. If not, they leave a text message or a voicemail. We both receive that. You can add up to 3 lines to, you know, our package deal with Grasshopper. But anyways, if someone calls, let's do that first. If someone calls me, I get them to send me a text message with their name, their email address, their home address, and then the scope of work. So that way, when they send it, there is a text version of everything I need, and also the initial scope of work. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a little bit. So I'll ask them to send me that. But while I'm on the phone, depending on their age, if they're anywhere from 20, 30, 40, even early 50s, and it's, just like a house wash or just a driveway, just something very basic, I ask them if it's okay if I send them a virtual estimate, okay? Because a lot of people are at work, are doing other things besides sitting at their house. And, usually I can get on Google Earth or Zillow and see what I need to see and send them an estimate, okay? So I have their name, I have their address, their email. I asked them if I can send them a virtual estimate. And guys, I send that within an hour after speaking with them, because people don't like to wait. And also, usually when you do all those things and you're making it very easy for them and they already have an estimate within an hour of communicating with you, you have a really good chance of getting the job. So I do not make them wait long. So say I send the estimate, I ask them, if they want to move forward, I want them to approve and sign the estimate, and then not long after that, I will receive an email saying, hey, the estimate has been approved. I will then text them back saying, thank you for approving the estimate. Here are some dates, okay? And then once we agree on a date, I will say, hey, I'm going to add you to Jobber or our CRM. You will be receiving a text message from our CRM. It's not me, confirming your appointment with Iron City Power Washing, and you are added to the schedule, and I will text you the day before as a reminder. So that's kind of the process with that. If it's an older generation, like 55, 60 plus, I am probably going to put it upon myself to go out there and meet with them, because the older generation guys, they want to see you, they want to shake your hand, they want to look you in the eyes, they want to hear your process. They're a little bit more skeptical on all these processes of how to clean properties. They're not on the internet seeing the soft washing. They're not as educated, right? I'm not saying they're not as smart, but they're not as tech savvy. They're not getting the exposure that the younger generation gets with seeing how we do things. So they would rather you come out there and meet them in person, which is fine. So if I get an older person on the phone, I just go ahead and say, hey, I'm happy to come out there and meet you and see the scope of work. I usually ask them over the phone for their information or write it down. I don't rely on them to text me, because they don't like doing that. So anything that involves the tech world, they usually aren't big fans of. So that's how I handle that. And then let's say I get an online submission. So that's the second option of how people can communicate with us to get an estimate. I'll get an email, saying online submission, and they'll provide their email and they'll provide their cell phone. Well, I call them immediately, and then I go through the whole process that I just explained to you. And I carry the load for them. I do everything. Even if they're not home, I'm even happy to go by there. And I tell them that, look, if you're not home, it's no big deal. If you want to wait to be home for me to come by, I know I'm a stranger. I'm happy to set a time to come meet you. All right. So you have to make it as easy and as flexible as you can be to work with for these people, especially the older generation. Now, I will say this: if I get a call or an online submission for a deluxe wash, like someone wanting a house, a roof, a driveway, their pool deck, sidewalks, like they want every inch of their property touched, you better believe I am showing up, shaking hands, I am wheeling and dealing, I am building that trust, I'm answering questions, I'm doing whatever I need to do to get that job. All right, and that's the same with commercial. If I get a commercial lead, I am doing everything within my power and my ability to get those commercial jobs. So it's all about, guys, it's all about giving them the best experience you can. Like yesterday, I landed a $4,000 commercial job because I was the only one who answered, and then I showed up, got the job. I talked with the lady for like 30 minutes, got to know her. We talked about the Lord, talked about her son. You know, it was very relational. And then I got an online submission for a roof wash, and I got it at like 11:30. I was on the phone with her at 11:32, and I told her, hey, I'm on the way. So that's why I like being available to, you know, the guys go do the jobs. I'm available to break away and go do estimates, meet people, and close these jobs. And that's a big part of why our schedule stays filled, because I'm available to go do these things. And she sent me a text, you know, once I added her to the schedule, you know, saying, hey, thank you for making this so easy, you know, and effortless. And I can show you the text. And so yesterday we landed a $4,000 job and a $550 job for, it's a small roof. And then today we've added 2 more jobs to the schedule because my business partner, he does things the same way. He's very easy to work with. We follow the same processes. We do the same things. And, you know, he's added 2 jobs to the schedule today. So, so communication, guys, and carrying the load of everything for your customer is going to get you a lot of jobs. Okay. And, you know, and learn the customers that want to meet you in person, and then the customers that are okay with a virtual estimate. All right. If it's the older generation, just go ahead and plan on just meeting them in person, because that's what they truly want. All right. And then the last question came from my call, and they wanted to know, like, what all do you have inside of your truck? All right. And I'll be happy to show you guys, like, the things I keep in my truck. I organized my truck earlier. I watched the Masters and did some organizing in my truck. I keep some extra hoodies in here, which I probably will take out once it stays warm. Extra shirts, extra socks. I got a new pair of work boots back there. I got 2 12-volt pumps back there. All my tools. I bought 2 new guns, just handheld guns. O-rings, pretty much everything I need. Anything that breaks on my truck, I have everything I need back there to fix it, to replace it, and I'll be happy to show you guys here in a little bit. So y'all stay tuned. All right, let's take a look inside the rig here. I just organized all this, by the way, to make it look a little bit more professional. So down in the floor down there, in those gray boxes, those are 2 brand new wash guns, up to 5,000 PSI, I believe. There's some tape there to cover outlets. I've got 2 12-volt pumps here. One's older but still works. That's a brand new one. Underneath the silver gun boxes are all my fittings in a toolbox. Those are 2 brand new oil filters. These are some zip ties. If I lose a strap or something, I need to zip tie a ladder down or something. Those are just emergency straps. Pretty much all my tools are in here. Got some hand wipes. Those are nice to have just to wipe my hands. I've got some drills in here, my DeWalt drills. Got a few hoodies here for when I get soaked in the cold days. It's easy to swap out a hoodie. Got a couple shirts I keep in here to swap out. Safety glasses, a few pairs of gloves here. These are the new boots I was telling y'all about. Cujo Yardwear. We'll see. I'm skeptical about these boots because if they're anything like the Huck boots, they will get destroyed. Have about 5 or 6 pairs of socks there, some backup shorts and pants, a belt. This is my nicer jacket. If I'm doing estimates and it's cold, I'll throw that on. Hopefully I will be putting all the cold stuff away soon. That's my strap I use for my lifts. Let's walk over to the other side. Over in my door are all of my tools here for just everyday use. Channel locks, WD-40, extra electrical clamps for my 12 volt if I need to replace those. Got some blades in here, WD-40, some extra straps in there. There's another look from this side. I've got my high pressure pump oil, engine oil if I need to make a quick oil change on the job. And then in the front, I've got my stands for my phone. I've got my iPad there. This is my stand for my iPad, but it's being used right now. Some more glasses, coffee. Always have coffee with you. I keep some surface cleaning nozzles there if I need those. Got a pen up there. So anyways, a bunch of paperwork that's personal stuff. My swim trunks and goggles for when I go swim and work out. So yeah, guys, that's what's in my truck on a day-to-day basis. And I'm about to clean out the back of my truck. It's a mess. Get that organized. But, oh, one thing I left out. I keep plastic bags in my truck to cover Ring doorbells or cameras on houses, whatever I need to cover up. So, and this will stay organized and clean for about a day or two, and then it'll be a mess again. Looks like my kids come in here and just destroy it, which that's happened too. So, but that's what's inside my truck. Oh, I've got O-rings inside there, hose clamps, all kinds of stuff, backup guns. I mean, I've got backup everything. So that's what's in my truck, guys. Hope this helps you guys to some degree. Always have backups.